How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the channel. As always, if you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe. It helps out, means a ton. You guys get plenty of fun stuff. Not just Choujin. We cover a variety of manga on the channel. So, getting right into it, we got Chapter 7 today, and it did not disappoint. This was super fun, and it was 42 chapters of fun, so pretty good-sized chapter. Granted, it's not on the most regular release schedule, but still, yeah, I'm all for it. But we pick up where we left off, obviously, and Tokyo is going into his full beastification finally. And Ishida does a great job of making this look like a very strenuous and possibly very painful process. You see veins popping out of Tokyo in multiple different places. You see one panel of him literally separating, like his head is just coming apart. You see him like twisting and turning in real life, falling to the ground to his like knees and elbows, gripping his head. It looks like a hell of a process for the first time. He also is in his own head for a second, thinking, Azuma, can I be like you? And he's just seeing different moments of Azuma. And we see Nari, the white snake Choujin. She has finally gotten her big ass body out of that cage. And she's like, all right, sending you to hell. I don't care. I'm tired of this. We're done. And we also see Ellie, and she's on the ground. She's pretty beaten up at the moment, actually. Even though she manages to get up and do some stuff throughout the chapter just fine. But Nari really gets her bearings, and she's like, all right, seriously? And she sees full beastification Tokyo just flying in, kicking her straight in the snake body. I don't know what portion of the snake body it was. The middle portion. Basically the only portion of a snake body. You got head, middle, ass tail. That's all you got. Anyway. So yeah, he absolutely flies into her and smokes her with a flying kick. Sends her reeling back. He drops down, and we finally get to see it. Full beastification, Vulture Choujin, Tokyo Kurohara. And oh my goodness, whoo, that panel of him sitting on the stop sign or the whatever sign. I don't know what kind of road sign that is. It's not a stop sign, but anyway. Sitting there all perched up, kind of like a bird. He looks phenomenal. He looks absolutely cool as shit. So we got Tokyo there, and he's like, man, I did it. Full beastification. He's bouncing around. He's like, I feel so light. Man, I feel great. But with this body, I got a fighting chance. I can do this. And punches Nari in the forehead and absolutely explodes his entire forearm. Good job, Tokyo. So, at this point, he's telling Ellie he's trying to, like, reverse the tables. Like, no, I'm going to do what Azuma would do. I'm going to tell her to run. So, he's trying to tell Ellie to run. Nari's over there like, dude, that's not going to work, stupid. Ellie is thinking the same thing as Nari is, and she just decides to blast her in the face with her smoke again. Well, that still doesn't work. Nari's scales are just too tough for the punch and the smoke. So this annoys Nari, and she goes to slam her tail down on Ellie. Tokyo's able to get over to her very quickly because he's very fast in this form, and he jumps through, grabs her. Well, he's too light, and he can't maneuver properly. So yeah, he's gonna be extremely fast, which I actually really enjoy this. I've always loved characters that are just super, super fast. The Flash was always one of my favorite DC characters. If you couldn't tell, I was never much of a powerhouse. Yeah, I'm not a big person. So speed, kind of my thing in real life. So yeah, I kind of like it. So, all right, he's moving up in my book. Anyway, so Tokyo runs and grabs Ellie again real quick. And he's like, all right, we got to get out of here. Get on my back. And this is when Ellie explains to him that that's not going to work. You've slowed down since busting your arm up. If you have that busted arm and you're trying to carry me, she's going to catch up to you. We have to fight. Like, there's no other way around it. She also brings up the fact that her scales are too tough. So eventually, Tokyo ends up coming up with an idea to get past the scales. He thinks, if her scales are too hard, where is she soft? And he remembers back to when she was about to eat him originally. So he has this wonderful idea that they're gonna broil her from the inside. And Ellie brings it up. She goes, that's kind of a terrifying, twisted idea, but okay. And one, obviously, yeah, that's kind of like Tokyo's first idea is to burn her from the inside out. My boy ain't messing around and he don't care. Tokyo's trying to get twisted, all right? He is all about it. And what makes him even better, like I said, I love Tokyo this chapter. He's moving up in my books. This chapter, after this chapter, granted we don't have a ton of fleshed out characters, easily my favorite character in the series. This chapter, whoo, Tokyo's got a little dark side in his mind. So Ellie brings up the fact that, yeah, that's kind of a twisted idea. And all Tokyo does is go, all right, let's go. Like, he just gives a little, all right, let's go. Like, Tokyo, chill. He's all about it. He wants to mess her up. I love it. So Tokyo goes out and he looks at Nari. He's like, hey, you only caught me twice. There was supposed to be a third time, so we're still in the middle of our test, so why don't you give me my score? And he starts bouncing all around her. She can't catch him anymore, actually. He's very quick, and eventually he ends up grabbing onto one of the snakes that is acting kind of like her hair coming off of her big snake head. Grabs that, flips around, grabs onto her teeth, and jams her mouth open with his legs and his hands in this weird, like, I'm not as flexible as Vulture, Choujin, Tokyo, so forgive me for that terrible enactment. Okay, somebody subscribe just for the fact that I did that, for God's sake. I have no idea what's wrong with me. Alright, getting back into this. So, yeah, Tokyo's plan is to pry her mouth open with his own body as the pry bar, and have Ellie, I guess, shoot the smoke around him into her mouth. I don't think he's wanting her to, like, shoot through him. That would be a bad idea. So I'm guessing he's thinking that, like, underneath him, there's still a big enough opening to where she can, like, squeeze the smoke in, like, down Nari's throat. So yeah, it's kind of messed up idea Tokyo's having here, but we already talked about that. Anyway, this happens, and all of a sudden, Choujin power's gone. Not entirely, I guess. He looked like he was still somewhat in Choujin form, but poop! Regular Tokyo face pops up. And yeah, that's not good because that means he's going to start getting weaker if he's losing his Choujin form. And Ellie can't get the smoke out, so Tokyo's over there like, please hurry, please hurry, please hurry. Ellie's over here holding her hand like, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. This looks terrible. And this is when all of a sudden we get a new Choujin showing up that we hadn't met yet. And this was just some, like, heavenly, divine judgment coming down on Nari. Alright, that's the only way I can describe this. So, this new Choujin shows up, and he says, first blade, loaned sword, pierced viscera, heaven set. And Mao! This, like, gigantic sword, like half the size of Nari's huge body. I mean, literally, her big-ass head is only, like, a fourth of this entire sword. Like, this thing's massive. And it comes flying in, like, through the back of her head. Smokes the absolute shit out of her. And then he just says, event. Boom! Duplicate. All these swords just start duplicating and just stabbing into her all over her body. I mean, this dude messed her up literally in, like, half of a second with, like, 35 different swords. This was dope. This is the kind of stuff I want to see. I'm a little bit of a hype beast. You give me some cool stuff, I'm in it. I mean, it has to somewhat make sense, but yeah, I'm in it. This was hype. I already love this person's ability. 100%. Finally, they just say, return, and all of the swords come back. And he starts talking to Nari. He's like, that's pretty foolish. You know prefecture statutes are pretty strict on Choujins using their ability. But when we get you back, you're telling me all of the information you know about who's been hiring you. He also tells her, he's like, this is putting an end to that old little pocket change you've been getting from the lackey work. So Nari says something like, yeah, fat chance with that dimwit, talking about her giving information to him later. So I'm wondering if the person who's been hiring her, that masked dude, or somebody higher up than the masked dude, maybe, I don't know. I wonder if they possibly have a way to, like, stop her from talking, like, built in, or, like, I don't know, like a cyanide pill, like, in a tooth where they, like, break it off, like, I don't know, maybe. So we figure out from Ellie that this person's name is Otsuda. And Otsuda starts telling Ellie, he's like, you're staying at our place for free and you just run off like that? Is that really any way to act? And he basically says, yeah, that's typical from a hick. Like, all right, fine, fair enough, I guess, whatever. But yeah, and he's like, it was Monoma? Was that the name of the teacher? I think it was Monoma. But anyway, he's like, was it Monoma? Ellie's like, no, they were super, super nice. And he's like, okay, so it was Monoma, great. So yeah, he's not very happy with Ellie. And he also looks at Tokyo and he's like, hey, what's going on with you? You got a registration, you beastified, didn't you? And Tokyo's just looking like, I have literally no idea what you're talking about. He's just like, all right, whatever. So what's your name? And this is when I completely forgot about the poison that Tokyo had been injected with. It took me a second before I finally realized that's what happened, but the poison finally kicked in, and Tokyo starts to pass out, and he can't get his full name out, so the guy thinks he said Zavin, I think it was, Kurohara. So got the one name right, but didn't get Tokyo out. Anyway, it doesn't really matter, I don't think. Maybe that will come into play later. I don't know. So we wake up again, and Tokyo just jumps out of bed like, school. Oh, this is not school. Where am I? What, huh? What's going on? This is when we see big old block chin that we saw rescue Ellie, Hoshi Sandak, and he's cutting up an apple, talking to Tokyo, just like, relax, it's okay. Do you like apples? Tokyo's just like, what? Sure, yeah, they're fine. What do you... Anyway, so Hoshi just tells me, like, don't worry, you're at a place. We help out good Choujin, and we teach them to use their powers and everything. And he explains to Tokyo that him busting up his arm, that was Tokyo misjudging his output level, which is common for first-time beastified Choujins. So we got some, like, internal gauging, like, I have no idea. Maybe it's just that his body or he himself is not used to using his form enough. So that way, if you try to punch it 100%, you're just going to wreck yourself. Kind of like Deku in My Hero Academia. If he tried to use too much, it would just wreck himself because his body couldn't take it. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe Tokyo just got trained up. I don't know. But anyway, he explains all that and all this, and he's treating Tokyo so nice, and Tokyo's finally back in human form, so he starts to cry, and it's the sweetest apple he's ever eaten. And yeah, it was a super fun chapter. I absolutely love Tokyo's full beastification. That is dope. Yeah, this was a ton of fun, and I can't wait to see a little bit more training for Tokyo and him to get a little bit more used to things. And I really, really can't wait to see what Tokyo's next interaction with Azuma is going to be. After finally being able to do this, after being able to do something for himself, I really want to see that next interaction. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoyed the chapter. If you enjoyed either or both, maybe, like I said, hit that like and subscribe down there. It helps out, means a ton. But with that being said, I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.